Hey Triad, got plumbing problems? Call the pros at Cardinal Plumbing and Drain Services. Clogged drain? No hot water? Leak driving you crazy? Cardinal's got you covered with expert drain cleaning, water heater repair, sewer services, and more, all from a licensed and insured local team that you can trust. They're family-owned, fast, and reliable with straightforward pricing and top-tier service every time. Don't wait. Call 336-848-9499 or visit call-cardinal.com right now. When your pipes say no, Cardinal says go. Cardinal Plumbing and Drain Services, Kernersville's call for quality. For the best high school football games in the Triad every Friday.
Can't touch this.
Live sports talk on everything from ACC to Bowman Gray.
Can't touch this.
The most extensive Carolina Panthers coverage in the Triad.
Can't touch this.
Plus your exclusive home for Charlotte Hornets from the Triad.
Break it down.
Add in your Triad home for North Carolina A&T Athletics, and you've got Tobacco Road Sports Radio, your home for Triad sports.
One-on-one down the sideline. One. Caught the ball. 10-5. He's in. Touchdown, Aggies.
You are locked into Tobacco Road Sports Radio, your home for Triad sports.
And you know this, man.
What up, everybody? I just gotta let this thing breathe for a second because the drive with Will Dalton it's back. I'm not even gonna say like, oh, it's finally here. No. It is back. Welcome to the drive with Will Dalton. Welcome to Tobacco Road Sports Radio, where we launched something that's new, but not really. We're just evolving it. Desmond Johnson, my guy, welcome in. Welcome.
It's like I stepped into like my my ex-wife's apartment. It feels like it feels strange. Like for those that don't know, this show has been around in the Triad for what was it, year 7, year 8?
This would have been or this is year 8 of this show in the Triad. Yeah.
So and I was the first producer with Josh Graham. Josh has moved on to bigger things at Westwood One. The previous home for the drive decided they wanted to do something else, and we conspired to keep bringing it to the Triad. So your official welcome to Tobacco Road Sports Radio, Will Dalton, and the public is very curious as to what the hell we have planned for them for this.
I gotta tell you, we got a stacked show today. It's very fitting that today is the first episode due to the news drop that we got in Chapel Hill at 8:00 this frickin' morning. So we'll get to that. It's loaded. We've got obviously the Michael Lombardi news. Carolina Panthers training camp is in full swing. We've got great guests. Oh, by the way, LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er now, in case you live under a rock. And, hey, you know what? So we've got 2 great guests today. We've got Alex Zietlow, speaking of the Panthers, we've got Alex Zietlow of the Charlotte Observer, who's going to join us in a half hour at 2:30. This is another thing I'm going to have to get used to, is not going off of radio time.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it, though. It's like I can let the show breathe.
It grows on you. It will definitely grow on you. Yeah.
Yeah. But we also have David Glenn, who you and I both know. I was his intern back in the day. You've known him for a long time. And he's actually a Philly guy. So it's actually kind of perfect. We didn't plan it this way. We didn't.
I wonder if he. I wonder how he feels. Yeah, this will be good because you're right. He's a Philly guy. So this is the 76ers haven't won a world championship since 1983. Like it was 40 something years. So
it's been a minute.
I'm not penciling them in right off the bat, but I'm sure you're going to get to that. We will. But
very quickly before we get to the sports, it is a new format. You know, this is obviously more podcast, YouTube. That's what this has evolved into now. That's where media is now. And, you know, you're seeing it with the ESPN layoffs, like how people are not watching traditional TV anymore. People are not listening to terrestrial radio as much anymore. Everything's going online and podcast form. And, you know, if you don't evolve into that, you're kind of going to be, you know, SOL. You're kind of going to be screwed a little bit. So we are evolving this. Thank you to all of the support, by the way, that I've received. All the, you know, because it's been about a month since this show has been on in some way, and you know, I've gotten a lot of supportive comments from audience, from my colleagues in the media, people curious and wondering what the heck is next. So this right here, this is what's next for the drive with Will Dalton, and I'm happy to be doing it with Des. I'm happy to be doing it on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's just do this because we got a lot to get to. We got to get to the breaking news of the day out of Chapel Hill. So I get out of my bed this morning, or you know, not early. I woke up probably like 10:30 today. I was out late last night doing other work on Westwood One Radio till 3 a.m. So it was a busy weekend, and I see the notification from Pete Thamel that Michael Lombardi, the GM over in Carolina, has been placed on paid administrative leave. So I was ready to talk Carolina Panthers today, Des. That's what I had in mind. That's what I wanted to leave the show with. And then Chapel Hill just always seems to find a way to make it about them. And for football reasons, by the way. Not for football reasons. It's kind of funny because things had actually been – had you noticed, Des, that things had been kind of quiet around the Tar Heel football program this offseason, even at ACC kickoff last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, compared to last year where the buzz was just like incredible up all the way up to that opening drive, that first game. Like that should have been the end of the movie, like right there. Like at the very scored a touchdown, that's it. And then you don't get to see the rest of it. But I don't know. I kind of was expecting something. Lombardi's not the first guy from the staff that's been put on paid leave, right? Wasn't there another guy that had like extra benefits or something going on a couple months ago? Like one of the coaches?
I have no idea. I mean, this is the big one. This is like the first big name. I'll tell you what I think. And I'm curious what David Glenn thinks about this. This could signal the end of the Bill Belichick era in Chapel Hill already. This might be the first major domino.
I've looked for that hole, like that rabbit hole to be able to take DG down because he's the lawyer of our group here. And
that's true.
He told me when I brought this up last year that it would be really hard to do it because of the buyout, the amount of money they have to pay Belichick. Because it's not just Belichick. You have to pay him and his staff. They all have guaranteed salaries. Yeah. So it's like, and Lombardi and like all these, like you have to pay them all like to go away. So you're talking like, what did he say? Like $60-70 million. And then you got to pay the next guy to come in. So
yep.
I think they're stuck for a while with each other, which I'm not very pleased about as a Carolina fan. I don't know how I know you're a Hills fan too. I don't know what to do.
We're both Carolina fans around here. And it's a weird spot because I will not forget where I was when I was watching the opening press conference for Bill Belichick and realizing, holy cow, Bill freaking Belichick is the head coach of the Tar Heels.
I did not like it. I was not pleased. I was not.
You weren't a fan of it?
It would be like if Coach K became the coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Like I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Like he almost became the coach of the Lakers when Kobe was there, and I would have
a number of times.
Yeah, I would have been really upset. But it kind of felt like that because I respect him. but I hate him. So like from the movie Get Him to the Greek, where he's like, I have respect for you, but I hate you. It's a hateful respect. And that's kind of what I have for Bill Belichick. So
and it's crazy to go back. So it's crazy to go back to that time when it was like just a crazy phenomenon. Oh my God, Bill Belichick is the coach at Carolina. To then this, where it's like I read somewhere the other day, this might be the least hyped Carolina football season in 10, 15 years, where there's no juice. Was no juice. And then this happens. And these things that come up that get the headlines buzzing, like I mentioned up top, they're never about what's happening on the football field. It's always some other crap.
Yeah. And I'm getting tired of that too, because it's like, I think it was the chancellor or somebody who was saying that football is going to be like their main sports ticket going forward, and everything else kind of flow from that, which makes sense. But they're kind of starting from behind, and I know they want to make it more of a pro style college. Like when you come there to play, like Duke is basically doing right now, which is why Duke's kind of ahead of everybody in the ACC when it comes to this. It feels like Carolina thought they could just write checks to players. Like it just like they go online and look at who are the 4 stars, who are the 3 stars, who are the 4 stars. Yeah. Let's give that kid $100,000. Let's give that kid $500,000. Like, and didn't really even check their tape and just kind of was paying kids. And then they got them all together, and they lost some talent because they didn't know what to do with. Like Bryce Baker's at Virginia Tech right now. Like he should probably be in the contention for starting quarterback at Carolina this year. Never touched the field. So it's like I don't know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Shout out to Julian Council. And by the way, fill in these YouTube comments. See, that's going to be another part of the YouTube podcast dynamic here, is like, we're going to be chatting. We're going to be talking to you guys in the comments. We're going to be very interactive. Like Cat Nasty writes in, yes, sir.
That's my guy.
Yes, sir.
Cat Nasty is my guy. Yeah. Shout out to Cat Nasty. Brett Wiseman, who was here earlier for Carolina Times with Jeff Griffin. Yeah. So we trying to do it, man. Trying to do it. Everyone's getting excited.
But Julian, he wrote in saying that he thinks this is the least hype season since Larry Fedora, which might be true. That might be true.
Fedora might have more talent, like on the team. Like, can you name like 5 kids on this roster?
Billy Edwards.
See, I don't even know who that is.
Well, he's probably going to be the starting. He's probably going to be the starting quarterback. That's the guy. There's another quarterback named Burgess that they just got, who is very talented, but I think Billy Edwards is probably going to be the guy. It's tough. It's tough. And you know what's funny? And we'll get to the Panthers here in just a second. At ACC kickoff 2 years ago, so his first year, like there was a level of paparazzi and media scrum following him that we'd never seen before.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Not at an ACC kickoff we hadn't. And I was talking to somebody saying that they thought, just by default, it was going to be that way again this year in Charlotte. And I was like, I don't think it is. I really don't. And Pat Welter up in Raleigh, he posted a video when Belichick got there on day 3, I think it was. And it was literally just him and his media guy. Like it was not, there was no scrum following him when he came in. So
the shine has worn off.
it has worn off. But let me tell you, in the last 18 months in the Bill Belichick era, these are all the things that have happened. So you come out with the day that Bryce Baker announces, hey, I'm going to stick with Carolina even though Bill Belichick's here, you bring him out in front of the entire Smith Center. I was there for that.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. At the basketball game. Yeah.
At the game. And you make a whole spectacle of it for him not to play a single snap all year long when there were opportunities late in the year that I don't think would have hurt his red shirt to come in and play. Like that NC State game when you pretty much emptied the bucket with all the other freshmen in the rotation. He could have played.
Never touched the field.
Never touched the field, but he was your big presentation at the beginning of all this. And then, since we do have to talk about the football piece of this, you get whacked. You get clowned. What do they have, 4 wins? You get clowned on opening night by TCU. You got Dabo Sweeney. I was there for this game. Got cooking up trick plays right out of the get when Clemson came to town. You had Duke running your old plays from the Patriots when they came to Keenan.
That's the pettiness that I'm here for. Like that, yeah. I enjoy that type of pettiness. That's great.
So that was the football piece of this. But then you've got the Jordan Hudson saga with the CBS interview, the back and forth with Pablo Torre.
I forgot about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you rattle off all these things. You've got parents as you come down the stretch of the year and into the offseason calling the situation toxic. Gio Lopez gets to Wake Forest with his guy Rob Ezell from South Alabama, talking about how this is a breath of fresh air. It was very hard to breathe in the room. I'm paraphrasing when he was in Chapel Hill. And now this, which the official report is that this was a university decision, not an athletic department. Bill Belichick didn't make this call. This was a university decision. This was an HR situation with somebody that was in the football front office, apparently, formerly. And that's all we know as of right now. Because this is Belichick's guy.
Yeah. I was very particular that they didn't explain why he's on paid leave or for how long. They didn't say how long he was on paid leave either, did they? They were just like, "Yo, he's out for a little bit. He's still gonna get paid, but he ain't gonna be in the building." So it's like, what did you do, Lombardi? What did you do? Like, and maybe we find out, but we'll find out by the end of the week, I'm sure. Like, it'll leak out. You think it's enough for him to lose his job, whatever happened?
Maybe, potentially.
Hopefully.
I'll sum all this up in one phrase. I miss Mac Brown.
Dude,
I miss Mac Brown.
I miss the recruiting classes he would bring in. Like, I miss him being in the triad, recruiting 5-star kids that are right here. Like, he'd be at Dudley all the time and East Forsyth and Grimsley. Like, he'd come in and do the thing. Larry Fedora flew into Dudley on a helicopter. I remember that. Or no, I think he came to East that way too. He came to East Forsyth. He came to Kernersville in a helicopter and like parked across the street or whatever and had to walk down to the campus or whatnot. I don't know if Bill Belichick is doing any of that. Like, I don't know if Bill Belichick's actually doing any recruiting. Like,
I mean, they are.
The money's recruiting, not him.
They're doing the recruit, and you know what? I think that's the thing that they overlooked last year. And listen, they did the thing. You know what is crazy about all this is they did acknowledge. There were plenty of people that said Belichick behind the scenes was acknowledging they did overlook a lot of the recruiting stuff, a lot of the football stuff. And this year, it seemed like, you bring in Bobby Petrino to help maybe juice up the offense a little bit. And it seemed like, based on all reports behind the scenes, they were actually correcting some of the things. Now, again, it didn't add to much hype. Don't even know how much, maybe 6 wins, 5 instead of 4 this time. But it sounded like they were correcting some of the things. And then this happened. It's just nuts. Brett Wiseman, ACC is about as wide open as it's been in years. I agree. Well, no, it's not. Miami's about to dominate.
I was going to say Miami's going to probably take this thing. Yeah, it's everything after them where I don't know for sure. But Miami basically reloaded again. They kind of got the NIL stuff figured out, like down there, which makes sense because they've been doing it kind of off the books for the past 30 years. So they kind of had a little bit of a head start in terms of what we're doing.
So we're gonna talk more about this situation with David Glenn when he gets here at 3:00. Alex Zietlow is gonna join us at 2:30. So we're going to get into plenty of Carolina Panthers talk with him. I will play this one thing. I think we have this sound from Dave Canales late in the week last week. He's talking about Xavier Legette. And one of the things that I want to ask Zietlow about is how Xavier Legette, how XL looks out there right now, because he lost, according to Sheena Quick, in her reporting this weekend, he dropped like 12 pounds. He's boxing. He's been doing that. Like there's her video is out there on social media right now of him boxing. He looks quick. He looks lean. He looks mean. Like he looks like he's ready. I think this could be the best thing that ever happened to him. Like all of the scrutiny from because I mean, even now, like you can't post an XL video about him looking better. Like, we'll probably clip this and we'll probably talk about it. And we'll still have loads of Panthers fans in the comments being like, oh, he still stinks. Like they're not even giving him a chance anymore. Yeah. All that might be the best thing that ever happened to him to kind of motivate him. Athletes don't need motivation from fans, but it does drop a little something in there. But here was Dave Canales when he was asked, I think Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer asked a question about how, Xavier Legette looked out there. And here's what Dave Canales had to say.
He looks fast. He looks powerful. He's having a great camp so far as we get started, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
He looks fast. He looks lean.
Hope he's not trying to increase his trade value with the city of Charlotte. Just went through this.
LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, we just went through this with LaMelo, and we were all blinded. Like we didn't realize what was happening until after it happened. And I think some people are still in denial, of what happened. They played LaMelo the way they played him last year to up his trade value, so they can get him up out of here because he doesn't fit the overall plan of what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if they got Xavier. You remember when they traded up for him into the first round? They moved up one spot with Buffalo just so they can give him the 5th year option. Yeah. I'm wondering if they did that to give him some flexibility in case it didn't work out and they needed to trade him, because now you got a guy, instead of him going into year 3 of a 4-year deal, it'll be year 3 of a 5-year deal potentially, because you own the 5th year extension, and we might need some pass rushers now. So would you trade Xavier Legette if someone came up on the open market that's a legit pass rusher that can come in there to fill in for Nick Scorton after what happened last week?
Now that is an interesting question, because they added Chris Brazzell obviously in the draft, and I was watching Panthers Blueprint and other reports that I've heard. They love Chris Brazzell. They were thrilled to draft Chris Brazzell. And then you got John Mechie, Bryce Young's guy from Alabama. Those guys played with one another and had some camaraderie. They played in 2021 over with the Crimson Tide. So they got a connection already. So it's like, all right, they might be able to trade XL now that the Nick Scorton's injury has taken place and he's out with an ACL. And we'll talk to Alex Zietlow about that. That's an interesting point. I had not considered that.
Should we make it a poll? Should the Panthers trade XL?
We should make it a poll.
Let's do that.
Again, this is me just getting warmed up, getting used to the ropes here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, the podcast YouTube angle of this. And I got my guy Des here running the 1s and 2s, making these things happen.
So yeah. So that poll today, should the Panthers trade XL? It's sitting if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook Watch. I'm not sure if it works in the comment section for X, but for some of the people that are already in the comment section, they already know how this goes down from Believe in Hills Hoops. If the Panthers should trade them, type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. It'll update as people are doing the poll online, and by the time we get to the end of the show, maybe we'll see how the public. Oh wow, we'll see how the public feels about Xavier Legette while we're in here. So that poll will be going on at the same time. Oh, here we go. So got a little action going on here.
But no, whether they trade him or not, I do feel that going through what he did last year, hearing all the noise, I think for him personally, it's going to end up being the best thing that could have happened to him. Just because that noise, it helps push you when you're an athlete, because you want to go out and you want to prove people wrong. And also, we just mentioned Chris Brazzell and John Mechie. There's not going to be pressure on him to be wide receiver 1, to be wide receiver 2. That's locked up. That's T-Mac and that's Jalen Coker. Shout out to the Cokettes. Which, by the way, Jalen Coker's been looking smooth out there at training camp. He's
just got to make it through training camp. He hasn't made it through training camp the past 2 years. He's always had some kind of soft tissue injury. So if he can just kind of get through preseason healthy and be there week 1, I'm convinced off of the last half of last year, the way he played, especially the Rams playoff game, he had a career night. I think he's the last Panther to score a touchdown. So
he was.
That's not good for XL. That's not good that an undrafted guy kind of came up and took the spot that was supposed to be yours. And now Chris Brazzell, Mezzi, like you said, Jimmy Horn. We haven't talked about him.
We haven't talked about him at all, yeah.
How many wide receivers do you think the Panthers are going to keep?
I don't know. It's kind of funny because they were in this position last year with receivers, because remember they had Hunter Renfrow, they had all these guys, And so they're kind of in this position again this year. And I would argue they got a higher volume of good, solid receivers this year than they did last year. So they got options.
This is one of the better wide receiver rooms the Panthers have ever had. Like, just to give it some sort of tag, like, it's going to be hard. Someone's going to get cut. We didn't talk about David Moore, who's the vet in that room. Like, we've named like 8 wide receivers. Like, what? I don't know who's going to be the odd man. I'm worried it's Jimmy Horn. Like, I'm worried it's going to be him. So I'm hoping he took that next step in this past offseason to really find a groove or something in this offense, because they were mainly using him as like the screen guy.
Yeah.
Or, so he kind of needs to be the guy, kind of what Chris Brazzell sounds like, what he's been talked about. The guy that takes the top off the back of the defense. Yeah. Chris Brazzell's got some size on him and Jimmy Horn doesn't. So I don't know. If you had to pick like your 4 wide receivers right now for the Panthers going into week 1, there would be like on the 53-man roster, who would you pick?
I go T-Mac, I go Coker, I go, man.
See?
Because I love what I hear about Chris Brazzell.
Mm-hmm.
I love his size and his speed at that size.
They usually start 3 wide receivers and go 1 back. So they do that 3-1. I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, the personnel, but
I love the fact that John Mechie already has this camaraderie with Bryce Young too.
I do too. I hear they've been linking up in training camp too, and they've been throwing to each other. Or he's been throwing to them all off season apparently. So Mechie, Jimmy Horn,
I think
David Moore.
I think I'd take XL over Jimmy Horn Jr.
I think I would too,
respectively.
Honestly, all this really stems to like XL dropping like, I don't know, maybe 4 passes over the past 2 years. Like they make it sound like he drops every week, but they were clutch. But
it's the drop passes, it's the penalties, it's not knowing where he's lined up on the field and coming down out of bounds. Like there's a number of things.
Yeah.
By the way, it's dumb mistakes that he knows he needs. I mean, all the way back to the first preseason game last year against Cleveland, he got in that fight. Remember?
Oh yeah,
boxing.
Right. But we were cheering him when he did that. Then we're like, oh wait, now we don't have him for
the rest of the game. I was fired up watching it.
Wasn't it something with him where he hadn't played a lot of organized football, like going into college football? Like, so he's really still kind of getting early reps, right? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. The fans love him. Well, the fans love hearing him talk. Again, it just comes. Would you trade him if somebody, I don't know, of a young pass rusher that's out there that might be had, but
I would, yeah. If a good solid pass rusher was out there available, I think I would trade him.
I think I would too.
I think I would.
I'm sorry. So I actually really like him.
I mean, listen, it's not personal. It's just
we're trying to win over here, baby. Yeah,
we're trying to win, and Bryce Young needs his extension. Okay. We're trying to stack all the chips in his favor, and I think Dan Morgan has given him all the tools he needs to go out and get this done. I really
if the offensive line is healthy and Jonathan Brooks is what has been advertised from my guy Jonathan Stewart, who hosts Believe in Panthers with me, he's been in the building talking to Brooks, seeing Brooks. He was like, Panther fans are gonna be pleasantly surprised if Jonathan Brooks ends up being as advertised from what he's seen, and then. Maybe Alex can attest to this being in Charlotte, what Brooks looks like. And he's actually backstage right now. So
let's get him in here. Let's
bring him in.
Let's
bring him in here.
Yeah, we'll get to LeBron James and his move to Philly here in just a little bit. Alex Zietlow, the Charlotte River. Welcome to the new digs, man. Welcome.
What's up? I'm so honored to be a part of this, man. I'm so excited too.
You're actually the first guest of this iteration of the drive on Tobacco Road. So Alex already a fan favorite over here. He's on with me when I was doing my show, and now it kind of migrates back to where I started on the drive too. And we're just happy to have you, man.
Dude, I'm so excited too. And low key, I kind of want to talk LeBron with you guys because I'm just
we haven't even touched it yet, so we can do that. Yeah,
no, it's just I mean no, we don't actually have to. It was just kind of funny. It was on Friday, and right after the Panthers practice was over, I'm walking over to the media tent where the podium is, where Dave Canales is going to speak, Pat Jones is going to speak, all these things, and it's like it had been like maybe like 4 minutes after Shams tweeted. And I go up and I say, oh my gosh, LeBron to Philly. And everyone's just like, Alex, we know, like, you're so slow. I'm like, 4 minutes around journalists is like 3 days around normal people. And I'm just like, guys, just like, let me just absorb this for a second. Okay. Like my generation's GOAT, is going somewhere on 2 years, $8 million. What? So I can't wait to, I won't be part of the discourse, but I can't wait to listen to y'all's takes about it.
Well, now that you have absorbed it, how are you feeling? Do you, because I mean, he made this move because it gives him the best chance to win a title. Like Cleveland would have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Teaming up with Steph Curry would have been fun.
Yeah, he wasn't going to go to Cleveland.
That's James Harden. That's James Harden right there. We'll get to that a little bit. But I mean, do you foresee him, because he's going to be there 2 years? He's going to play 25 years, Zietlow. 25 years, and at a high level at that. Do you think he's going to get a title? Do you think he's going to get one?
Yo, he better. Are you kidding me? If the 76ers don't win a title this year, it would be nonsense. Something would have had to go completely wrong. And yes, if you talk to the NBA heads, they're like, well, Joel Embiid doesn't play for most of the year. They might not have a good regular season, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You have Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and then you have, like, he wasn't the rookie of the year this year, but VJ Edgecombe is a dog. You know, like, my goodness, like, you have just an abundance of talent, and LeBron is someone smart enough to make that work. And so I think if they do not win a title this year, it would be a disappointment. And I'm just willing to say it. I'm just willing to say that right here. I mean, I'm not a Sixers fan. I would have preferred LeBron to go over to the Bay and play with Steph Curry and run back that magical Olympic gold medal run. But now maybe Steph Curry's coming to Charlotte. I saw that on ESPN or something. So I would be cool with that. This is just so exciting. It's unbelievably exciting. So yeah, but I have no real true analysis. I'm just kidding.
You're just fired up to be.
Yeah.
You're just fired up.
I'm a little, I retired this button. Actually moved it to Believe in Hills Hoops, but I got to use it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got a button?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
So everyone is like, they're just penciling in him winning a title, and I'm like, he's 41. He's 41 years old.
41 years old.
I know he's not even going to be the first, second, or third option on this team. So like,
fourth option.
He's going to be the fourth option.
If LeBron is the fourth option, they need to win a title. It makes no sense.
Like, it's really more for the people that the conversation's been like, can LeBron catch Jordan? Like now he's got the situated or whatever, and I'm like, no. Because he went and joined a team that's like ready-made. They could have won a title without him, right? Like when they got Jaylen Brown, like they were already going to be stacked.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if they're better than the Knicks. I don't know if they're better than Boston. Maybe. I don't know if they're better than
Boston. Boston's pissed right now.
Cleveland. Like, I don't know. I mean, the East is stacked, and he had all these other teams. Like the Hornets are on the come up. The Heat have Giannis now. Indy's going to be back because Halliburton's going to be back. Like Detroit, everyone's forgetting Detroit was the 1 seed, like in the Heat. Like no one's talking about him. I'm looking at it like this. I don't think that LeBron is chasing Jordan anymore. I think he understands he can't catch him. Like it's just not going to happen because even he'd have to win like more than 6 at this point to do it. And now it's just like, I think he's chasing number 2. I think he's trying to cement himself as the second greatest player of all time. Because the people that are ahead of him in that conversation, they all have 5 rings. Kobe has 5 rings. Magic has 5 rings. Kareem has 5 rings. He has 4. But his contemporary, Steph Curry, he has 4 too. And he's been in the same era as LeBron. So the only way to separate yourself out, you got to get at least 1 more to get to that 5 ring club. Because you're right now, LeBron's not even a top 4 Laker of all time. Think about it.
Let's talk Panthers, bro. You're rage baiting Gen Z right now.
It's true.
Let's
it's true.
It is absolutely not true. He's the leading scorer in the history of the NBA.
But he's played 22 years. Like I'm not taking that away from him.
His longevity is a great thing.
But does that mean he's the best, like ever, or the most durable?
I am a Michael Jordan guy. I grew up in North Carolina. I'm Tar Heel. All these things.
Oh man, then what are you doing?
but to say that he is trying to cement himself as number 2 all time is just crazy.
I think so. Like, because that's an argument to be made too. Like, who would you say is number 2?
Also, LeBron doesn't need to like chase anything legacy related anymore. I think he was being authentic when he went on Twitter and said, I thought I played my last game and I realized that I still really love this game. I still really want to sacrifice and I want to wring out any other basketball playing days that I have because this is all I know. I think that's true. I think he was making a decision for himself and his love story in basketball. I think he's done protecting legacies. Because also at the end of the day, if you've been in the game this long, like you know that someone is going to have an opinion about your legacy that's not true. Yeah. It's just a fact. We see that all the time with Cam Newton. People revise Cam Newton's legacy all the time in Carolina, and it's like, and the further away you get from those Cam Newton years, you either memorialize him even more, or you try to tear him down even more. Like I think LeBron kind of understands that. He's lived through that. He wants to play basketball for 2 more years. That's my take on it. Will, I've been talking over you this entire time. So
I was gonna say, Will, what's that line from Batman where you're the hero long enough to become the villain or whatever?
You're the hero long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That's LeBron. That's LeBron right now. So I don't know. Anyway, but I mean, you weren't even here for LeBron. You were here for.
Yeah, let's talk something.
Let me ask you, because here's another team that aspires to win a title. And according to David Tepper this past week, he thinks this is a team that could do it. You know what? Let me actually start here because we've been talking about Xavier Legette, and I saw Sheena Quick post, some stuff reporting about him this weekend that he had lost like 12 pounds. He's been doing boxing, working out 3 times a day. Dave Canales said he looks fast and explosive last week. And now you got Nick Scorton that's out for the year with an ACL injury. Do you see? Could you see a scenario where maybe they trade XL for an edge rusher out there? Could you see that?
Ooh, I was not expecting you to ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, maybe that gets some momentum in a little bit. I haven't heard anything from that perspective, and I also don't think that those two things necessarily have to be related. At this point, getting a premier pass rusher would be really difficult and be way more expensive than, say, like Xavier Legette and a couple premium picks. I mean, if you include those premium picks, which Dan Morgan has been really hesitant to include in certain trade packages, like the XL still needs to prove himself in order to be a really valuable trade asset to go get someone that could change the game like Nick Scorton probably could have in his second year. So when we're talking about trade talks with XL, I would dampen that. However, what I would kind of elevate is the fact that Xavier Legette, in his first 2 years in the league, if you remember, had a lot of was always kind of getting bothered by some soft tissue injuries, whether it be a hamstring in OTAs, a hip injury in training camp, whatever the case may be. And it's true that he's lost weight because that's what the coaching staff wanted of him. But it's also true that he's bulletproofed his hamstrings. He's bulletproofed all of these parts of his lower body to where it's like, yo, I'm not going to get hurt. Particularly in the non-contact days of practice. I'm going to be on the field. I'm going to be present, and I'm going to be in this competition with Chris Brazzell. I'm going to be in this competition with Jalen Coker. Now, Jalen is probably going to be spelled out at the F and is probably going to play mostly slot. So, he's kind of just competing for that Z receiver or that player on the outside opposite Teterow and McMillan. But still, he has made himself available, and he's made plays all summer. So if you want to buy stock in Xavier Legette, now is probably a decent time. Nationally, he's still viewed as this guy who drops a lot of passes, who can't keep his feet in bounds, who lines up in the wrong places and sometimes causes an offsides, what have you. That is not what we've seen in training camp. He's made plays, and he's been reliable for Bryce Young.
Well, and I was making the point, and you can tell me what you think of this, Zietlow. I think that last year, all of the fan scrutiny, everybody talking about how bad he was last year, I think that could end up being the best thing for Xavier Legette because he's clearly somebody that's heard the noise. And he's also somebody who really, really cares a lot about getting better. And he cares. He knows that he can't have another year like he had last year. And he's acknowledged that. I think this could be it could be the best thing that's happened to him as a player.
There's that possibility, and it kind of worked out for him at the South Carolina Gamecocks. He was he was kind of a late blooming NFL prospect under Shane Beamer, and just eventually his tools, his height, his strength, his speed, particularly his linear speed, that ultimately kind of shone through in his final years at South Carolina. And that could be the same case with the Carolina Panthers. So that remains to be seen. But then again, Bryce Young can only throw the ball to so many players. And that is going to be interesting to see how these preseason opportunities kind of weigh out, because if Dave Canales does want to sit out a lot of these guys who are going to, he hasn't publicly stated this, but just based on his history as with Dave as a head coach, he normally sits his starters. And I think it would be interesting to see if Xavier get some preseason opportunities this year, because he hasn't previously. But now you're wide receiver 3, maybe wide receiver 4. Are you going to be in the game, and are you going to kind of prove to not only yourself, not only the rest of your team, but also the rest of the league that you're pretty good? That's an interesting storyline that I don't think we've talked about a lot, but mainly because the preseason is still a couple weeks away. So all of this stuff around Xavier Legette is super interesting. But to your point, Will, he cares a lot, and his teammates love him, and this coaching staff really loves the work that he put in this summer. That cannot go overlooked. It just can't.
I'll tell you one of the other storylines that I'm most fascinated to follow this season, in addition to how Bryce Young does, how this defense does that they've stacked up, how XL does, it's Jonathan Brooks and his comeback story, or what he's attempting to make his comeback story. And I heard Dave Canales last week at the podium say that he, quote, looks like the guy I remember. What do you think he meant by that? And as somebody who's been out there, what are you seeing? How is he looking out there?
The guy that Dave Canales remembers is the player in the first half of his last season at Texas, a guy who is not only a shifty runner, but a powerful runner, who's not only has reliable hands, but can make plays while in the receiving game, can shake loose linebackers, can, once you catch the ball on the flat, do something with the ball. And that is what we've seen so far in training camp. I don't mean to overhype anything, particularly when fans can't see for themselves in training camp. I've gotten in trouble in the past of writing something kind of innocuous like Jonathan Brooks looks good, and people being like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. But there's no other way to say it. He has looked really good. He has looked really shifty. He looks fast too. And it's not like he was slow in college, but that wasn't a main attribute of his. And he looks really, really fast. I think the 1-2 punch of him and Chuba is going to be interesting this year. Obviously, it was kind of an interesting tension point last year when it was Chuba and Rico Dowdle. And so that tension might return. Okay, how many carries do they need to get? What's the carry distribution? But those are week 1 problems. If Jonathan Brooks can be a productive football player again, and this front office can say, here's why we drafted him, I think that's good. Jonathan Brooks also doesn't have the same sentiments and mindset as Rico Dowdle did yet last year. Rico was on a 1-year contract, had just come off a 1,000-yard season. I don't think there's going to be the same sort of tension if there was any tension between Rico and Chuba. But at least from the outside last year, there was some, okay, wait, is this actually a good problem to have 2 really good running backs and them not get the desired carries that either one of them wants? I don't think that problem's going to be there this year. I'm getting ahead of myself. Jonathan Brooks looks good. I'm getting way ahead of myself. But Jonathan Brooks looks fast and really good.
Alex, how do you feel watching Bryce going into year 4? They gave him the 5th-year extension, And I think he really grew up in front of our eyes the last couple of weeks of the regular season. And then that Rams wild card game that was just 2015-esque in terms of like the vibe of it. I've talked to multiple people that were down there. I just had Anish Shroff with us on Believe in Panthers last week. And he said that Luke Kuechly turned to him in the booth and was like, this feels like 2015. Like when he got to the fourth quarter and like Jake Delhomme and Moose and them came out to bang the drum or whatever. And like literally the TV was shaking. Like that vibe, I feel like the whole fan base is like, can we continue that? Can we continue to do that? And it's all going to be on Bryce Young's shoulders. What do you feel when you're watching Bryce right now? Does it feel like he has more of a command than he has previously?
He is much more comfortable. And I do think that's a product of him having a more command of the offense, understanding what the offense should look like and feel like. Desmond, is your dog barking in the background? Is that what you were looking around?
Yeah, I have a Chihuahua, so she's like, I don't know what's going on. She's like panicking or something. Like, but the door is open; it's right there. It's first world problems. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine.
No, it is so funny. No, it's all good. But about Bryce, like I think he does look more comfortable. His teammates are reporting that he looks more comfortable. Then again, we've said that he's looked more comfortable for every single training camp outside of his rookie year training camp. So, I mean, take that as you will. He's spreading the ball around. I think the few times that he has made a mistake, he's thrown an interception to Shaw Smith-Wade or thrown an interception to Will Lee, or just in general, the defense kind of dominated day 2 of training camp. In day 3 on Sunday, it was the Bryce Young show. Bryce was absolutely cooking. And even Kenny Pickett was kind of playing well for a little bit too. Like I think Brad Idzik and Dave Canales, or Brad Idzik specifically, kind of dialed it up pretty well on day 3 of training camp. So I think Bryce looks as good as we can expect him to look. You can only tell so much, but I mean, there's been no regression, and he looks accurate. The thing that I really like is that he tries his best to push the ball down the field this year. He's doing that so much. Like I understand it's still, training camp days or whatever, but like there is a difference when Kenny Pickett's in the game or in the practice rep, and he is a bit quicker to dump the ball down to whatever running back's out there. Bryce is looking to throw the ball down the field. Bryce is, when he's outside the pocket, he wants to make something special out of the reps. So he's like eluding defenders and telling John Mechie to turn this way. And John is like listening to him doing like that. Creativity is there, and he's willing to chuck the ball down the field. Does that result in some interceptions? And does that result into some reporters being like, Bryce Young picked off again, and some fans to overreact to that? Yes, but that is not a bad thing. It really isn't.
Sounds like Bama Bryce. Like,
yeah,
he won the Heisman. Like, kind of backyard football, really. Like, which I'm here for. That's great.
It is. I actually spoke with John Mechie one-on-one a couple of days, on Sunday, and I'm writing a story about him and his connection with Bryce right now, actually. And John could not have been more effusive about Bryce this offseason. So only positive things.
Oh, Will, you're muted.
Zietlow, let me ask you one more quick thing because I want to get you out of here. And I appreciate you popping on with us for a little bit. So, Charlotte, you've got this new momentum renovation that they're doing at the same time. That's what they're calling it. You've got – you like that, Des? Did Tepper come up with that? I need to know.
Someone, yeah.
But it's just a great name for a sales center. Just like it is the ultimate like sales pun, but that it also is like I actually think it's kind of good. Like I know it's probably corny, but I'm a corny guy. I think
it's good corny. Yeah.
You know what? With the MLS All-Star game in town in a few days this week. You've got the stadium renovation. Then you had Roger Goodell up there with Tepper last week talking about how this could be a good spot for a draft, which I 100% agree about that. And then Tepper was talking about like, get us a Super Bowl. Could you could you see a world where Charlotte legitimately hosts a Super Bowl? Because usually they go to these either domed or warm weather spots like Florida or Arizona or somewhere like that. Could you see a world where Charlotte hosts one?
How is Charlotte not a warm weather location? Like, bro, if you walk outside,
that's a great question.
This is a conversation that I've had with some people in the office literally today, and I'm just like, guys, how is this not like it is steaming outside? Like, what are we doing? And last year was in San Francisco, right? Like,
they've been in Tampa. Tampa's hosted a Super Bowl, yeah.
I will just say, from all of the hoopla that was last week and Roger Goodell coming to town and all these things, when Dave Tepper did like kind of playfully pitch a Super Bowl to him, Roger did not respond with get a retractable roof, get a dome, get a blah, blah, blah. What he said is these are going to be Super Bowl quality facilities. What needs to happen is the other elements that are required of a Super Bowl, the luxury hotel occupancies, the other infrastructures of a city like this. And I've seen reporting that yet it's not a question of number of hotels or number of restaurants or number of amenities. It is a question of like those luxury amenities, those luxury hotels. And so then Dave Tepper goes and says, well, how a town like Augusta keeps the Masters. They rent out all these $1 million homes near Augusta. They rent them out and turn them into Airbnbs. Dave's like, well, why can't we do that? Roger, you can stay at Dan Morgan's house. We'll be good. Blah, blah, blah. He turned it into a joke. But like if Charlotte continues to grow, the Bank of America Stadium in its fully formed, renovated self will not be ready until 2030. If Charlotte continues to grow on the pace that it has, I've been in Charlotte for 7 years now. If it continues to grow at the pace with which it has, I think those amenities will be available to them.
I think so too. Yeah, so, because even outside of Charlotte, like Concord and like
Matthews and
everything along the loop right there. That's all what from there getting into Uptown to get to the stadium. How far of a drive? Like 20 minutes, maybe.
20 minutes, yeah.
Not count traffic, but yeah.
I mean, that's a real possibility. I think Roger did. I think he was pretty clear in saying, well, let's see. This is just reading the tea leaves, but I think it was like, try an NFL draft and then we can see what we can go from there sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But the conversation of no roof, no Super Bowl, I don't think is the right one. I don't think that I don't think Roger Goodell cares about that. Because he said it. This is a Super Bowl quality facility. And that's really good news. And also, do we really think that the Panthers would have renovated their stadium that much without assurances from the league to say, hey, we can host some really important events here? Do we think that they would pour $500 million of their own private investment after already committing $150 million in private investment if they didn't have these assurances? I don't think so, personally.
Alex Zietlow, check out his stuff at the Charlotte Observer. Zietlow, listen, the LeBron talk was great. Loved it. The Panthers coverage is always top notch. We appreciate you being our first guest on the new iteration of The Drive.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm sorry for rambling, but hey, that's not the Alex Zietlow experience if you don't get a rambler.
we gotta get the full deal, man.
We have the room to allow that to happen here. So yeah. Ramble on, my friend.
Great. Thank you guys and great luck. You won't need the luck, but great luck on this endeavor.
There he goes. Alex Zietlow. David Glenn gonna pop in here in about 7 minutes. So we'll get into the Michael Lombardi situation with him a little bit deeper and some other matters from ACC Kickoff. But real quick, one of my favorite segments to do is reacting to the weekend because, I mean, Monday shows, people hate going to work on Mondays. They do. But not when you work in sports radio, not when you work in sports media, because literally the weekend does your job for you. It really does. So let's go down the list of some of the best things. There's going to be a lot of audio clips here. Some of the best things that I personally saw over the weekend. Maybe you saw them too. And if not, happy to share it with you. Happy to do that. let's start with Mike Vrabel, because this guy has just been through he did it. He did it to himself. The whole Diana Rossini situation. And now, after all of that, he comes to the podium with his dog. This is how it sounded.
Do my best here with BB. Okay, so welcome everybody. It's good to see you guys. Me and BB are making quick friends here. German Shepherd mix, so been working with her all year. She's going to try to protect me if anybody gets out of control. So we're going to let her roam around. We'll see how she does on this podium here. She's nervous.
What just happened?
He comes to the podium for his press conference, and he's just got a little dog in hand. It's the oldest note out of the PR handbook or the Fix Your Image handbook. Bring a dog. That'll make you forget I cheated on my wife with Diana Rossini.
Was that like the worst kept secret in the NFL? Like that was even happening? Because if you watched or that Rossini was doing that with somebody, because if you ever watched her on Get Up or First Take or any of those shows, she was just dogging her husband like on TV, like all the time, like to the point where it was kind of uncomfortable like to watch it.
Well, and it got to the point like after this news came out that like every week a new clip of her doing that would surface. And as a guy, I'm like, buddy, what are we doing? And nope, it's not my business, but he's still like walking around, out in public with her and everything. I'm like,
okay,
whatever you're into. The other thing I saw this weekend that was really good is all these clips that have, and there's so many. I'm just going to bring you two. The clips that are emerging out of SEC media days last week. See, that's the real circus, because this is a conference that's kind of in crisis mode because they, the Big Ten, they're the big dog now. They just are, because now everybody's allowed to pay their players, not just you under the table. And the SEC, they're threatening to depart from the NCAA and start their own super conference or whatever. And they're still trying to tell everybody how much better they are. Let's listen to Lane Kiffin, the main man of the hour in that conference, talking about his decision to leave Ole Miss.
I made a challenging decision and change. And I think as I look back to that, I thought I could find a way for everybody to understand. And now as I look back later on, that was never going to happen. We're all going to die. And so some of the things that we put importance on, we worry about, and what this person says and that, like, really aren't going to matter. And when I lost my dad, I started thinking that. And I really started thinking, when I grew up, there were two people that I thought just wouldn't die. My dad and Hulk Hogan. And then I watched that special and really like Hulk Hogan died too. Like there's no way Hulk Hogan was ever going to not wrestle and die. And he did. And so it just made me reflect really on like, I can't be so concerned about little things and what people say and this, and you got to make decisions. You got to go with them.
That was his reasoning for why he just said, the heck with it. I shouldn't worry what people think about me leaving Ole Miss. I'm going to die. Hulk Hogan. He died. My dad died.
To his defense, he was labeled the immortal Hulk Hogan. So as a child, he was probably led to believe that Hulk Hogan was immortal, that he couldn't die.
Mind blown. But then, see, it's good. It's good, right? But then go to the new Kentucky head coach, Will Stein. And the question is right here. He's essentially asked, why do you think you're going to be a success at Kentucky? Or I'm paraphrasing. Let's just let the reporter do his job.
Why do you think you can win big here?
This is going to sound like really, I think because of me, to be honest. I think because of me. I think I know what it takes. I've seen it at the highest levels. I know what it takes to recruit at this level. I'm also excited about what the future holds. And so that's why I'm excited. That's why I believe. Or else I wouldn't have taken the job. I would have stayed out at Oregon and coached Dante and stayed out there.
That sounded like regret, didn't it?
That dude is going to fit in great in the SEC. Why are we going to win? Because of me.
Wait, I I want to hear that Kentucky drawl again from the reporter at the very beginning.
Yeah, have some twang.
You can win big here.
Why do you think you can win big here? Like I don't know. There's something about the.
Why do you think you can win big here?
If that doesn't like if you told somebody, tell me where he's reporting from, SEC Media Days would have to be like at the top of the list. Would have.
Why do you think you can win big here?
Love that. We love some twang. We're not making fun of it.
Yeah, no. We're in North Carolina. Like I'm about to walk outside into it in a couple minutes.
That's it. How about this? This was a cool moment. So Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, and Jeff Kent, they went into the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame yesterday. And as somebody who I'm a Yankee fan, full disclosure, it does mean more. Brett Wiseman writes it on our commentary.
More.
Andrew Jones, longtime Brave legend. I'm a Yankee fan, but I grew up going to Brave games at Turner Field. And Bobby Cox, he's one of the most beloved coaches in baseball history. But Andrew Jones, I thought, had some really, really cool comments about Bobby Cox yesterday.
Nobody in the Braves organization had a bigger impact on me than manager Bobby Cox. He put a 19-year-old in the World Series in lineup and believe in me. He command respect, create a winning culture. You play hard, you play to win, and you play always give your honest effort. Simple rules to play the game. My 12 years with the Braves, he was my only manager. He was like a second father to me. I know he's looking down, laughing, and be so happy for me and my family. Thank you, Bobby.
I grew up a Braves fan, sort of. Like,
so you feel that? You feel?
Yeah, that. I mean, well, we don't have a team here, so the Braves and the Orioles were kind of the two. Mm-hmm. Just because for some reason Baltimore Oriole games were on like every game down here, like over the air television. I guess some local had a contract with them, and then kind of the same with the Braves. So I'm more of I start watching baseball as it gets closer to postseason kind of guy.
Sure, a lot of people are that way.
Yeah, like I start focusing more on it when it gets to like September. Like, then I start paying attention, and especially by the time I get to the World Series, if there's a team in there that I really like, then I'll pay attention to it. But yeah, Andrew Jones, he was one of my favorite players back in the day. So,
and he was just one of those players that, like in my childhood, like he was elite on both sides of the ball. Tons of Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers. Like he was just the best of the best. So I thought that was a really cool clip of him going into Cooperstown yesterday. Do we have DG? Is he ready to roll?
Yeah, he's backstage in the green room.
Let's welcome in the great David Glenn. Let's do that because, Philly is on the mind, and we didn't plan it this way. David Glenn in here on the new edition of The Drive with Will Dalton. DG, welcome in. How we doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys separately together. I'm happy to see you rocking and rolling WD, and it's always fun to talk sports with you guys.
So we will get
roundabout moment here. We call DG behind the doors. We call him the godfather of this whole thing because I've kind of stemmed out from the David Glenn show over the years. So it's a weird full circle moment to have the drive here. And it's a great moment to have DG as part of the first show here. So I want to say thank you, my friend, for coming on for the first show.
Absolutely. It's great to be with you guys. I'm excited for you and excited to be with you.
So we will get to LeBron James going to your Philadelphia 76ers. We'll get to that in a little bit. But there is a bit more of a pressing issue out of Chapel. It's funny. I was joking with Dez at the start of the show. I'm like, what? It's been kind of a quiet offseason for Carolina. After all of what happened last year, it's been kind of quiet to the point of being a little boring. Not much hype. And then at 8 o'clock this morning, Michael Lombardi on administrative leave, because of course it's not a football story. It's got to be something else like this. Do you think, because this is Bill Belichick's guy. This was an administrative decision. This had nothing to do with the athletic department or Belichick. Do you think we could be seeing the beginning of the end of the Bill Belichick era already with this situation?
I think it depends on what you mean with that question, because if you mean that Bill Belichick will not coach year 2 in Chapel Hill, that I think is extremely unlikely. He's going to get his second year unless there is some crazy stuff behind the curtain waiting to leak out. But this is an alarming trend over this year and a half under Bill Belichick, who went 4-8 last season. There's no reason talent-wise to think the Heels are going to be that much better this season. We'll see. But Michael Lombardi, remember, was a controversial hire. Michael Lombardi has spent most of the previous decade before being hired by Bill Belichick, an unconventional hire in his 70s, despite his Hall of Fame caliber background. Michael Lombardi was doing gambling podcasts, more sports gambling podcasts, more than he was actually involved in building football teams for the last decade. Now, you guys know how this stuff works. If you win, most other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you lose, and especially if you lose repeatedly, well, then your young girlfriend starts to matter more, and weird stuff behind the scenes starts to matter more, and HR accusations like this regarding Michael Lombardi starts to matter more. And there's also reporting now by The Athletic that Michael Lombardi also is being looked at by the organization that was created in 2025. It's called the College Sports Commission. They're the group that when revenue sharing became a thing for the first time last year, athletic department money going directly to athletes on campus, this CSC governs both revenue sharing and name, image, likeness deals. So it is a doubly alarming situation with Michael Lombardi being looked at by the College Sports Group, College Sports Commission, but also by the internal HR investigation. The Tar Heels have enough problems on the field.
Yeah.
And this just continues the circus sideshow off the field.
I'm always fascinated by the timing that news like this drops. What did you make of the fact that this came out at 8 a.m. on a Monday? Like, do you think this is something they just discovered right here today that they had to get out? Or do you think this is something that's been going on beneath the surface for a little while?
It's hard to know. I mean, typically, an investigation takes a while. Now, they said the investigation is ongoing as we speak. Does that mean it started today? Probably not. But I flash back to we were at ACC kickoff not too long ago, and I cannot remember. Obviously, I didn't follow Bill Belichick around for every second of his time in Charlotte, but I do not remember him making one voluntary reference to his right-hand man and general manager, Michael Lombardi. Now, again, it could have happened when I was not near Belichick because there's a lot of stops in the car wash, but there was no mention that I'm aware of. And, did Bill Belichick know that even if he didn't know this would happen, did he already know something was being looked into? I'm not sure. But when I saw Bill Belichick just in the hallways in Charlotte, I actually saw him talking to the new athletic director at UNC, Steve Newmark, and I heard him use the phrase, "This is really frustrating." Now, I don't know what – I was walking by, so I wasn't eavesdropping. I didn't have any CIA type equipment. I wasn't recording anybody. I just happened to be on the way to the men's room, to be blunt.
Yeah.
But this is really frustrating is usually not a sentence you want to hear, right? Like, you don't want to hear it from your coach. You don't want to hear it from your teammate. You don't want to hear it from your spouse. And you really don't want to hear it from your football coach with the season a month away. So whatever was frustrating, maybe it was runny eggs for all I know. Or the half bagel that he picked up before putting the other half back, starting a whole different firestorm in Charlotte. Who knows? But the fact that we even have to contemplate this stuff is just another step in the wrong direction for UNC football under Bill Belichick, especially after the 4-8 record of last year. That was an embarrassment on the field.
So go ahead. No, go ahead, Des.
I was just going to say, DG, you mentioned this on the Desmond Johnson show last spring. I think I brought it up to you, trying to find a way to get out of the Bill Belichick contract. And I think you explained how it's not that easy for them to just let him go. Can you kind of let the audience understand why they can't just fire him and the staff?
Yeah, the bottom line is almost all coaching contracts have a difference between being fired with cause. With cause means they found you purposely violating NCAA rules or, a serious violent crime off the field. Like, if you get fired with cause, they don't owe you anything. The school does not owe a coach anything. But 99 times out of 100, you're fired with what's called without cause. And that just means you lost too many games, or, there was too much of a circus sideshow to go with too many lost games. When you fire somebody without cause, you go to the buyout clause in the contract. Bill Belichick's buyout clause right now would cost them $15 million. And if they fired him on January 1st of next year, let's say he has another 4-8 season, and they decide a guy in his mid-70s is not worth keeping for a third year. If he were fired on January 1st or 2nd, 2027, they'd owe him $10 million. And the contract was written in a way that if he spent 3 years in Chapel Hill and then they fired him, they would owe him $0. And that was, from my lawyer's eyes, that was a reflection of, well, the guy's in his mid-70s. And if it's not going well after 3 years, you'd like the right to fire him without paying a lot of money. But right now, $15 million is a lot of money. Again, that's what it would cost. I don't think Carolina is going to fire Bill Belichick today, just for the record. I think he's going to get to coach year 2. But if for football reasons or off the field reasons or both, they wanted to fire him in January of this coming year, $10 million is not an insanely large buyout. We're living at a time, remember, where there have been 50, 60, 70, like Jimbo Fisher had a $70 million buyout. Texas A&M had to pay him $70 million not to coach. I mean, there's only a handful of those in that stratosphere. So all things are relative. If they had to end this experiment in January, $10 million is not the most expensive buyout. But again, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. If somehow the Tar Heels are good on the field this fall, Michael Lombardi could either clear up this situation or be let go, and Bill Belichick could be allowed to continue to coach. But it's the losing combined with the circus sideshow. That's what, I don't care if you're on your way to the Hall of Fame. If you're doing both of those things over multiple years, you will not survive in the longer run, right? So we'll see if we have to revisit the dismissal possibility at the end of the Tar Heels' upcoming season. But at least for now, it's hard to predict the future of Michael Lombardi at UNC because we have to wait for both that CSC investigation and the HR investigation to unfold.
Let me, because you were talking about ACC kickoff in general, which is the place I wanted to go. After listening to Jim Phillips, every year he gives his State of the ACC Commissioners Forum address. What was maybe the single biggest takeaway you had after listening to Jim Phillips speak about the state of the league this year?
The glass half full positive biggest takeaway was that ACC football viewership was up 68% year over year. Now there's some Nielsen calculations that are done differently now than they used to be done. So that's part of why they rose so much. But when you can say as a conference commissioner that among the 4 major conferences, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC, you had the largest increase in football TV viewership, that's a great sign. Now, we know the ACC had to play on Fridays to boost their ratings, and they had to play a lot of intersectional games and made-for-TV games. But whatever. What's been holding the ACC down more than anything else financially? Mediocre football TV ratings. So that number going up 68% from 2024 to 2025, that was a great step in the right direction. And then the other interesting thing, not glass half full, was when he boldly said, I want schools that want to be here, not schools that have to be here. Well, that, of course, is a byproduct of some nasty lawsuits that Clemson and Florida State filed against the ACC that have since been settled. But lingering in the background is the reality that the SEC and the Big Ten make a lot more money than ACC schools do, and that Clemson, Florida State, or others, Miami, UNC, maybe others, at some point may be lured to the Big Ten or the SEC, and obviously that would threaten the longer-term stability of the Atlantic Coast Conference. So it was a mixed bag from Jim Phillips, but he can only play the cards that he's dealt, right? It's not his fault that the ACC has fallen so far behind financially. He inherited that television contract. And whatever you might think of his imperfections, the bottom line number one issue, money, is a problem that he inherited when he replaced John Swofford.
Couple more things for you on the way out here. Getting to Clemson, it's a really weird year for Dabo Swinney. Like I had somebody this weekend asking, because they know I cover the ACC, and they were asking, what's the deal at Clemson? Like, is he on the hot seat? Like, I told them, I just think if it was anybody else, maybe anywhere else, he would be. He maybe would have been on the hot seat last year, but because it's Dabo and he's done so much there and there's so much equity there, I don't know that his seat is even warm yet. But I'll pose the question to you. What do you view the situation to be over at Clemson this year with Dabo?
To me, it's a classic example of the conversation being different among chunks of the fan base than it is among a university's administrators. Clemson's administrators absolutely, positively do not want to fire Dabo Swinney. Everybody agrees they have come back to earth, right? Yeah. But administrators also remember, because they don't live in the same what have you done for me lately world that most fans live in. Dabo Swinney's fingerprints and signature are still on one of the greatest runs in the history of college football. Not an exaggeration. In a 6-year period, under Dabo Swinney, the Clemson Tigers won 6 straight ACC titles and 2 national championships. Unless you're talking about Nick Saban in Alabama, that is about as good as it gets in modern college football history. Now, that 6-year amazing run, where, by the way, Dabo's average poll finish over 6 years was 3rd in the country for 6 years. He was either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Who does that besides Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney, right? So the administrators know that. Fans don't like being what Clemson football used to be for stretches of its history, and that is good, sometimes top 25, but not great. But Clemson has won 2 of the last 4 ACC football titles. It's not like they've completely fallen off the map, but compared to that 6-year run of insane success, yeah, the fans are going to get restless. But he's a great representative of the program, and I think that long-term body of work over a decade plus at Clemson as the head coach, I think that gives him the benefit of the doubt in the administrator's eyes. Even as, to be candid, Clemson's talent level is good, not Miami Hurricanes level. And fans don't want to accept that, and I understand why, because for about a decade, we used to start the ACC conversation with Clemson football, and now we're more talking about the Tigers as, you know, one of the other contenders in the top 5 or 6, and that is a step down from where we perceived the Tigers for a long time.
Last thing for you here. So you're a Philly guy, and your sports teams are actually doing pretty well here. I mean, you're a Caniac, so they just won the Stanley Cup. Your Phillies went from one of the worst teams in the league to now they're a wild card team. Yep. Beat my Yankees last night. And then the Sixers, they score LeBron James, and he viewed that as his best chance to win a title. How are we feeling over there?
Really good, but I'm not presuming anything. You know, long story short, as a young boy in Philadelphia, I watched the Philadelphia Flyers win the Stanley Cup as a little boy. I watched the Philadelphia Phillies win the World Series in 1980. I was there in person with my dad, and the Phillies, as a baseball player, were my favorite team in any sport.
Oh, man.
And then I was a Sixers fan. They had the combination of Julius Erving, Dr. J, and then for a shorter period, Moses Malone. And I'm like, if it's ever going to happen in that sport, it's got to be now. And they did, 1983. And again, I was still a young guy. I think I was in high school in 1983. Well, fast forward, the Sixers haven't won another NBA title since 1983, and I think they've only been to 1 NBA Finals since 1983. So it has been long-term skepticism among my Sixers fan buddies who still live up north. But you can't argue with Philly's new starting 5. Tyrese Maxey is the real deal. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, right? Joel Embiid down low. VJ Edgecombe on the wing. And now LeBron can play almost anywhere. And some bench. So I get it. Like, you can't, even in the super team era, you can't just assume an NBA title. You know, OKC is still really good. San Antonio Spurs are still really good. the Knicks are going to be good again. Others are going to be good again. So I'm not assuming anything, but I'll say this. It is the most interesting time in Philadelphia 76ers history since the early 80s when I was like, wow, they have Mo Cheeks and Andrew Toney and Julius Erving and Moses Malone and other guys to go with them. And, you know, it was only that one title, but it was unforgettable. Maybe LeBron and friends have another big moment waiting for us in the city of brotherly love.
Moses Malone, man. People sleep on Moses Malone.
Yeah.
Like, they really do not talk about this man. People were scared of him. Like, he was a big man. Like, when big
that,
men
that 83 team was so good, the Sixers. And again, that was after a lot of good but not great teams. His famous quote when asked how the Sixers were going to do in the playoffs that year, he said, foe, foe, foe. Meaning the Sixers were going to sweep each of, back then you needed three 7-game series victories to win, essentially saying nobody has a chance to beat us. And I think it ended up being like 12-1 instead of 12-0. Like, they were a freight train on the way to that NBA title. I don't think, you know, they got to stay healthy, right? And you got to find some bench. Sounds like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is headed to the Sixers. That's another bench piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Like, it's fun to be a Sixers fan for the first time since what? You know, Allen Iverson was in town?
2001, yeah. That was the last time they went to the finals, was 2001 against the Lakers. So, man, I'm happy for you because as a Charlotte fan of Charlotte stuff, I feel like they're on the verge of maybe experiencing something going into this year with the Panthers, then maybe later with the Hornets and what happened with the Canes. But Philly feels like y'all are like living it right now.
Eagles
like
are always good,
middle.
right? Hey, the good news for us is the Canes just won the Stanley Cup. The Panthers made the playoffs for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
The Hornets at least played in the play-in game, so they're knocking on the door. And I think we're going to get Major League Baseball at some time in the next half a dozen years or so. I mean, knock on wood, we'll see. Long way to go on that one. But that's a lot of good news in our great state. So I appreciate you guys helping me celebrate the Philly story as it unfolds. But as a 40-year resident of North Carolina at this point, I'm even more excited when our teams do well.
It's always good news when we've got David Glenn as a guest. Check out his work, the NC Sports Network. DG, I appreciate you coming on, and we'll do it again here real soon.
Thank you, boys. Always good to be with you. Keep up the good work.
There he goes.
Thanks, DG.
David Glenn. It is interesting. I think the conversation around LeBron, like, I feel like everybody's having the wrong conversation about this. Like, everybody wants to either make it, oh, he's ring chasing. Oh, you know, it's oh, he's trying to chase Michael still. But the real conversation about this is how bonkers it is. This situation is bonkers. Like, LeBron is viewed as the last and final piece to a title contender at 41 years old.
I feel like we're all setting ourselves up for failure. Like,
I get it, but I mean, just like, regardless of what happens, but like the fact that like this is a conversation that's being had, to me, that's the interesting part. Is like, he's 41 going into year 24, and if he fulfills the 2-year contract, he will have played 25 years, and they're a contender. Like, that's bonkers to me.
I've seen that it's not so much that if he gets another title, you know, that's great. But I've seen that he's actually trying to play long enough so that he can play with Bryce too.
Bryce, I don't know.
His younger son. And I just saw this weekend, Bryce transferred from Arizona to Villanova right after this happened.
Was that true?
Yeah. So from my understanding, he's transferring over to Villanova, which is in Philly. So, and shout out to my guy PJ Harrison, because he brought this really good point up on one of the last episodes of Believe in Hills Hoops when LeBron announced that he wasn't going to be coming back to the Lakers. Right before he did that, about a week or so before, Bronny James signed a deal with the Lakers for like $2.7 million or whatever, like more of a secured deal because he was a second-round pick. So he made sure his son got some money first before he made the announcement he wasn't coming back. Because otherwise, if the Lakers hadn't done that, Bronny James is probably a free agent today, or he's with the 76ers. He's probably, just in the suitcase with LeBron, like going that way.
It might be the best starting five he's played with, by the way, like 1 to 5.
That's a good question.
It might be.
All right, let's do this. So in Cleveland, the second time, it was Kyrie, J.R. Smith, LeBron, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson.
It was Tristan Thompson. The center when they pulled the 3-1 comeback, I think that was Timothy Mozgov. I think that's who that was.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Well, if that's the case, you got to throw that lineup out. If he was in that start lineup, that can't, yeah.
But, the one that people talk about is the Heatles with Mario Chalmers, D-Wade, Shane Battier, Chris Bosh,
and LeBron. That's tough. It's tough, actually. Yeah.
But Embiid, Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, like that's.
Honestly, the starting 5 he had in the bubble with the Lakers when they won, that was him, Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo. I think Dwight Howard was starting.
Yeah.
Who else did he have on that team? I can't remember who the forwards were. That was a good team. They were big. Like JaVale McGee was on that team.
Yeah.
It probably, you're probably right, but we're expecting Joel Embiid to magically play 60 games when he looks like he's 65. Like when you're watching him on the court, like it looks like it hurts to play. So I don't. How many games do you think Joel Embiid plays?
Yeah,
He played like 20 last year.
He averages. I think he averages like 40 some games a year, maybe.
That's horrible. But
the interesting thing is, and that's the last thing I'll say about it, like LeBron hasn't played with a young stud like VJ Edgecombe. Like LeBron usually doesn't do the whole up and coming rookie, up and coming young player thing. Like Andrew Wiggins got traded.
I still think that was the biggest mistake of LeBron's career. Yeah, I think they should have kept Andrew Wiggins instead of trading him for Kevin Love. I think he'd still be in Cleveland. I think Kyrie be in Cleveland too. Like all of them. They'd also be in Cleveland,
I mean, obviously Lonzo Ball didn't work out, but I will never forget Magic Johnson at his opening presser going, "You see the rafters up there? You're going to be up there one day." I'm like, what are you doing?
Is Zoe on a team? Is Lonzo on a team right now? He was with the Bulls, right?
I
don't think he's on a team right now. I don't know.
Let's see. Is he a free agent? Is he playing anywhere?
I know every day I wake up to
Cleveland. He's with Cleveland.
Oh, that's right. He's with Cleveland. I wake up every morning to Lamar Ball on his balcony in Bel Air or whatever, just like shouting out, if you want to win a title, go get all 3 of my boys and put them on your roster. And then he goes.
Oh, no, he's in Utah. Lonzo's in Utah.
That's
right. Yeah.
That's why we didn't know where he was. He was in NBA purgatory.
Yeah. Okay. So every day we're going to wrap up the show with something that I'm going to call the 2-minute drill. And this is essentially where we pull like a fun story. It could be sports related, could not be sports related. And we essentially have 2 minutes to talk about, and then we get up on out of here. That's what we do. And then maybe eventually we can pull like a PTI and actually have like a 2-minute counter somewhere on the screen so we can actually get 2 minutes. But this is what I want to get to today. Did you see the Detroit Lions reveal these new alternate uniforms?
The Lions? No.
Or not the Lions.
The Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. There's a reason I thought about the Lions, though. And if we put these on the screen, you'll see these things are atrocious.
What is going on? It looks like what is
happening? It looks like a knockoff Detroit Lions uniform. Like they're dark grays. Like that's what it looks like. And somebody said this looks like a Diet Pepsi can.
It does kind of. I was like, why does it look so familiar? It looks like kind of like a Pepsi. And this is the Bills?
This is the Buffalo Bills.
It's all gray. Like that's not their color, right?
So I think this has to do with their colors because I tried to get down to the bottom of why they did this. I think this had to do with their color scheme back in 1960. I think that's what this has to do with. Regardless, atrocious. They're bad. I'm a big uniform guy. I don't know where you are with swag, how you team uniforms. Do you get into it, or you're like, I don't care?
A little bit, yeah, I do. It just depends. My problem is that the fits that my teams wear that I love the most, they tend to lose in them. So like when the Panthers go all black, which like,
dude, I love the blues. The blue.
I do like the blues too. The electric blue, that electric.
Yeah.
But when they do like they won like a contest or something a couple of years ago. Like what was the best alternate jersey? And the Panthers jersey won. And then they started wearing them. They would wear them like in primetime games, and they would lose every single time they wore those jerseys. So it was like, I love the jerseys, but I don't want to see them. Like,
do you think the Panthers should bring in a new uniform? Should they tweak their uniform? Because I've heard a lot of talk about that, where it's like people feel like the Panthers never change their uniform. Do you think they should?
Change it to what? Like,
I don't know, just like tweak it, or like, just
I like the
mess.
I like the I don't like the all white when they go all white, like the white bottoms, white tops. I don't like that. I like when they do the top blue and the bottom black. And I like when they do, I love when they do all black, but we just lose all the time. And I like the all blue, but they don't wear it very often either. So it's like, I don't know. I never really thought about it, but are the Bills going to actually wear this? Are they going to actually go public?
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's atrocious. Shout out to the Buffalo Bills and their Diet Pepsi Coke uniforms or whatever. They're probably going to lose badly in those. I guarantee it.
I will say we didn't get to. We still have like 2 audio clips here from about LeBron. Actually, we never really got into like what we thought about LeBron. I know we're like right up against it. This is a supersized edition of the show, but did you want to run those clips? At least the Jalen clip?
Yeah. Or? See, this is the beauty of the fact that I'm not on terrestrial radio anymore, and it's straight podcast. It's like we can do things like this.
Go a little longer. Yeah, we can strike a little longer. We got people in the house. We shout out everybody that's watching and listening right now. And of course, as we get through this first week and get some kinks worked out, you'll be able to catch us on a variety of different things. So you sent me a clip of. I was actually thinking about this guy over the weekend, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
because he's the one out of all of this. He didn't ask to get traded to Philly.
No,
he didn't ask for any of this. And what was his whole thing when he was in Boston? Basically, he didn't really say it out loud, but he wanted a team of his own, right?
Yeah,
is this Jaylen Brown's team?
Well, no, it's not.
It's not his team.
It is interesting. Like Boston probably looks the worst of all this. Like I was listening to somebody talk about like the people that are most upset about the LeBron trade. Like there's Cleveland, who like they're screwed because they're good. You know what? Because Cleveland's going to be good.
Yeah.
But like again, James Harden
levels. Yeah.
There's levels to this.
Can't trust James Harden once April 1st gets here. Like it just different dude. Like
you can't. Now Miami, I never thought that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, Cleveland, Miami, LeBron doesn't owe them anything. He doesn't.
And that was the thing, too. People were like, oh, it'd be, he wants to go back to Cleveland and this and that and stuff. My wife, her family is from Cleveland. Like the media's perception of how Cleveland feels about LeBron James is not exactly what the perception is in Cleveland. Like they would have eventually welcomed him back with open arms, but it wasn't like they were clamoring for his return. Like it's not like that at all. And I don't think, honestly, LeBron wanted to go back to Cleveland. Like, why? You already did what you had to do. You won a title. Like going back, it's like just kind of admitting defeat to me. So I never thought he's going to Cleveland. And in Miami, I don't know if him and Giannis together works at this part of LeBron's career. Like if LeBron was like 5 years younger and could play really more perimeter and actually really be, at 28 points per game kind of guy, and Giannis is in the middle. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. But that didn't sound right either. So if he's gonna be the 4th option in Philly, that's
dangerous.
Yeah, and plus I saw he's not gonna have to live in Philly. Like there's a concession in his deal where he's gonna actually live in New York, and they're gonna have a helicopter that flies him back and forth to Philly. It's like a 90-minute drive or something. So he didn't have to worry about traffic. So he doesn't even have to live in Philadelphia. He can still live in New York.
Boston is the team that I think is the most upset by this because Boston fans were already like, what are we doing when they moved Jaylen Brown? Because why? Especially for what you got back for him. And then, like, when you think about Boston rivals, like, yeah, there's the Knicks, but the Sixers are kind of a rival too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
When LeBron went to the Sixers, in part, mainly because Jaylen Brown entered the conversation, they're like, oh, no. Oh no!
He was an MVP candidate like 2 years ago. Like,
yeah,
we wrote the Celtics off when Tatum got hurt, and he wasn't going to be playing this year. We didn't think they were going to make the playoffs.
Got him a 2 seed. Got him a 2 seed all year.
So if you're Jaylen Brown, and I don't think they have the same representation. I don't think he's with Rich Paul, but if you're Jaylen Brown, how are you feeling? And you had this clip here. I haven't even heard it. Jaylen Brown on adding LeBron. Let's hear what Jaylen had to say about this.
the process is back on. We've been shutting the process down for the last I don't know how many years. The process has been over, but now the process is back.
Wait, what? So, the process is back.
The process never worked. It never worked.
The only thing they got out of it was Embiid. They got Embiid out of it, and then and now they owe Embiid $260 million or something over the next like 3 years, and he can't run up the court.
But I think you've got this Rich Paul clip too.
I do.
And this Rich Paul has been brilliant with all of this, by the way, like with the podcast he does with Max Kellerman, where they literally had a whiteboard of all the different options. And he's got like the little metal pointer out, like school teacher style. And here he was talking about Philly and talking about how, things kind of changed when Jaylen Brown entered the chat.
Philadelphia, everything changed.
Do they have his attention as Windhorst is reporting?
How could you not have the attention when you have Maxey, Edgecombe, Brown, and Embiid?
They're missing. All they really need here is a power forward who can think the game and shoot.
That's why he's in the middle.
See what
It's
I mean?
a good fit for LeBron. Like you were talking about ring chasing and stuff. The older stars, they were doing this too when they were older. Barkley joined Houston.
Barkley did it, and it didn't work
joined
out.
Houston. It didn't work because they were too old together to do this.
Yeah.
This is kind of the way you're supposed to do it. Join a couple young guys, couple middle guys, old guy, vet or two. I don't know about their bench. Like they're gonna have to all play like 48 minutes to to make this happen. But I don't know, man. Philly's entered the chat. Like the Eastern Conference is loaded. Like I can count like 7-8 teams that are going to be really good next year. Our Hornets are going to be good. I don't care what anybody says about Ball and Bridges getting traded away. The Hornets are going to be good. They're going to be a 45+ win team. Like they're going to be good.
They are. I mean, think about it. Atlanta. They got Lou Dort now.
Yep.
Atlanta, and they were like quietly pretty good last year. Like they were maybe a piece away from really being elevated in the conference. Detroit has not had a good offseason.
Yeah.
They haven't had a good, like they lost Tobias Harris to the Spurs. That's a great pickup for them.
Didn't get anybody to help Cade Cunningham at all, really. And they were the one seed in the East.
Yeah. New coach. So, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, like who do you bump out in the East now that Philly's like back up there? And I'm thinking about also in a Hornets context.
What if it's Boston?
Maybe.
Maybe they fall actually now.
Boston and Detroit, you're out. You're out.
Man. And we even saw the Wizards. The Wizards were the worst team in the league, and now look at their roster now. Trey Young, AD, like it. They're yeah. So
we got to get B-Dot. We got to get B-Dot to come in here later in the week.
Yeah. We'll track him down. He's around. We'll track him down to get his comments on this because we haven't even done Believe in Hills Hoops in a couple of months. We were off, and meanwhile, Michael Malone has offered like 7 of the top 10 prospects for 2027 or something. So they're moving. So we move. Yeah,
Carolina basketball is a lot different spot than Carolina football. Well, let me tell you that.
I'm excited.
Let's do it. But you can. This has been fun.
This went fast.
It did. It did. Monday, Thursday, Friday, 2:00 we'll go live. And this is what it's going to be, man. We're just going to keep it loose. Have a good time. Podcast, YouTube. We're evolving around here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do it.
You'll be seeing this dude's face on quick clips throughout the week. The episodes are over at Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel. They will be on the drive with Will Dalton's YouTube channel as well. There was a glitch in the thing when we first started, so I'm just going to give you the video to just upload to your YouTube, and until we can figure out where we can have them live on both. We'll be able to get all that and more. The audio will be on the Tobacco Road Podcast Network, which is mainly Spotify right now. So if you didn't get a chance to hear it, you can hear it in the car or wherever later on today. It'll be 2:00 Monday, Thursday, Friday throughout the week. And again, and shout out to Jeffrey Griffin, who did who did Carolina Times earlier today at 1:00 and did a great job himself. Just happy to have you guys, man. I did not expect a couple months ago this would even be possible, but now it is, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's build this thing up. Let's do it.
All right, so take us out of here. Will, what's
Yep.
What's the word?
We'll talk to you guys next week. We'll talk to you guys later in the week. We're going to get 6 Man of the Tar Heels B-Dot in here and more Panther stuff. Got a lot of stuff cooked up later in the week. Be on the lookout for that.